Shri Jagannathaaya Te Namaha. Vanchakalpatarubheshya kripa sindhuvaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam langayate girim. Yatkripatamaham vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Paramanandamadavam Shri Chaitanyamishwaram. Hare Krishna. So what is the verse we are supposed to discuss today, bro?
Guys, Adilila
4.4
4.41. 41.
or 4.41. Okay, sure, Baba. Let us start then. Okay, takes 41. ए मत भक्त भाव करि अंगीकार अपनी आचार्य भक्ति करिला प्रचार ए मत भक्त भाव करि अंगीकार आप अपनी आचार्य भक्ति करिला प्रचार ए मत भक्त भाव करि अंगीकार अपनी आचार्य भक्ति करिला प्रचार. In this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. Purport. When Rupa Goswami met Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Prayag, Allahabad, he offered his respectful obeisances. By submitting that Lord Chaitanya was more merciful, magnanimous than any other avatar of Krishna because he was distributing love of Krishna. His mission was to enhance the love of Godhead. In the human form of life, the highest achievement is to attain the platform of love of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya did not invent a system of religion, as people sometimes assume. Religious systems are meant to show the existence of God, who is then generally approached as the cosmic order supplier. But Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's transcendental mission is to distribute love of Godhead to everyone. Anyone who accepts God as the Supreme can take to the process of chanting Hare Krishna and become a lover of God. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya is the most magnanimous. This munificent broadcasting of devotional service is possible only for Krishna himself. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya is Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has taught the philosophy of surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One who is surrendered to the Supreme can make further progress by learning to love Him. Therefore, the Krishna consciousness movement is propagated by Lord Chaitanya is especially meant for those who are cognizant of the presence of the Supreme Godhead, the ultimate controller of everything. His mission is to teach people how to dovetail themselves into engagements of transcendental loving service. He is Krishna, teaching his own service from the position of a devotee. The Lord's acceptance of a role of a devotee in the eternal form of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is another of the Lord's wonderful features. A conditioned soul cannot reach the absolute personality of Godhead by his imperfect endeavor, and therefore it is wonderful that Lord Sri Krishna, in the form of Lord Gauranga, has made it easy for everyone to approach him. Sarup Damodar Goswami has described Lord Chaitanya as Krishna himself, where the attitude of Radharani, or a combination of Radha and Krishna. The intention of Lord Chaitanya is to taste Krishna's sweetness in transcendental love. He does not care to think of himself as Krishna because he wants the position of Radharani. We should remember this. A class of so called devotees called the Nadiya Nagaris or the Gaura Nagaris pretend that they have the sentiment of gopis towards Lord Chaitanya. But they do not realize that he placed himself not as the enjoyer Krishna but as the enjoyed, the devotee of Krishna. The concoctions of unauthorized persons pretending to be bona fide have not been accepted by Lord Chaitanya. Presentations such as those of the Gauranagaris are only disturbances to the sincere execution of the mission of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya is undoubtedly Krishna himself, and he is always non different from Srimati Radharani. But the emotion technically called Vipralamba Bhava, which the Lord adopted for confidential reasons, should not be disturbed in the name of service. A mundaner should not unnecessarily intrude into the affairs of transcendence and thereby displease the Lord. One must always be on guard against this sort of devotional anomaly. A devotee is not meant to create disturbances to Krishna, as Srila Rupa Goswami has explained. Devotional service is anukulyana, favorable to Krishna. Acting unfavorably towards Krishna is not devotion. Kamsa was the enemy of Krishna. He always thought of Krishna, but he thought of him as an enemy. One should always avoid such unfavorable so called service. Lord Chaitanya has accepted the role of Radharani, and we should support that position. As Saru Damodar did in the Gambhira, the room where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed in Puri. He always reminded Lord Chaitanya of Radha's feelings of separation. No, he always reminded Lord Chaitanya of Radha's feelings of separation. As they are described in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Lord Chaitanya appreciated his assistance, but the Gauranagaris, who placed Lord Chaitanya in the position of the enjoyer and themselves as his enjoyed, are not approved by Lord Chaitanya or by Lord Chaitanya's followers. Instead of being blessed, the foolish imitators are left completely apart. Their concoctions are against the principles of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The doctrine of transcendental enjoyment by Krishna cannot be mixed up with the doctrine of transcendental feeling of separation from Krishna in the role of Shrimati Radharani. In this way, assuming the sentiment of a devotee, he preached devotional service while practicing it himself. Two, two aspects Srila Prabhupada is explaining in the purport very prominently. The first one is Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most magnanimous because most of the religious systems they only show one what is the existence of God, and then generally people approach such approach God for mundane material benefits. That's why Prabhupada calls it as they treat God as their or a supplier. The Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is awarding us the love of God. That is the supreme mercy of the Supreme Lord. So this is the first point which Srila Prabhupada is stressing on. The other point very much relates to Lord Chaitanya's mood as a devotee. The mood is that of the Vipralamba Bhav of separation. He is Lord Krishna, no doubt, but he is having the attitude of Srimati Radharani. So in that way, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is tasting the sweetness of Krishna's uh, love for Krishna in the mood and attitude of Srimati Radharani. And then Srila Prabhupada is explaining that whenever people do mental concoctions like this sect of people called as Gauranagaris, who are placing Lord Chaitanya in the position of the enjoyer and they are thinking of artificially adopting the mode of gopis for Lord Chaitanya. And Srila Prabhupada is explaining that such kind of concoctions, actually such kind of concoction creates havoc in one's life, the havoc in the social level as well. Therefore, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada is explaining how these kinds of whimsical mental concoctions are simply a disturbance to the society. We cannot superimpose our own mood on the Supreme Lord. You see, what mental concoction leads to is superimposing our mood on the Supreme Lord. So when we superimpose our mood, our feelings on the Supreme Lord, so in one sense it is offensive. In one sense, so when we so with this kind of attitude, one is not making progress in devotional service. Because you see, progress in devotional service is a matter of transformation. Automatically, I mean, there has to be some motion, there has to be some change. And what is the transformation? So, the progress in devotional service is all about transformation. But now, what is happening is when one assumes these kind of mental concoctions, and superimpose these concoctions on the Lord, then one is using God as a template simply to satisfy one's own ambitions, simply to satisfy one's own carnal tendencies for enjoyment. That's all. And now, because the Lord is used as a template or as a base, so one thinks that okay, all this is now sanctioned and allowed because now all this is allowed. It is spiritual now. Because this being the mentality, previously one was thinking, okay, these are my desires and I need to fulfill them. Now one is thinking that, okay, these are, now the one has put the same desires on the Lord. And now one is satiating that. Where is the change? Where is the transformation?
Sadhus do like that. Like they will not get they do not whatever they want to eat they'll offer to Gopal.
Yeah.
They will take
So where is the change? Like that. Like sometimes even devotees do that. They say, no, Krishna likes to eat pizza. Like, Krishna likes to eat pizza or you like to eat pizza? So previously, a person not come to Krishna consciousness, person say, I want to eat pizza, I like to eat pizza. Now I want to say, no, Krishna will like pizza. But ultimately it's only pizza. Where is the change? Where is the transformation? So
challenging to be there.
so we have to understand progress and devotional service is about uh, change of desires and transformation. So that is why we need to adopt and align to the mood of the Lord through the parampara. Not that we superimpose our mood everywhere and our thoughts everywhere. This is an important point. So therefore, mental concoctions are very dangerous. Like some devotees are feeling one time. No, you see, the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam is not that practical. Rama and Mahabharata are more practical. Very dangerous conclusion. Arey, Bhagavatam is not practical. Why Krishna is revealing in the first place? You see the setting of Srimad Bhagavatam. The setting of Srimad Bhagavatam is this Parishit Maharaj is about to die. A dying man will not like to hear theories. Will the dying man want to hear theories? When we are hungry, what do we want? We want something to eat or we simply want discussion on recipes. Hungry man cannot discuss on recipes. Okay, what is the effect if the garam masala quantity is doubled? What will be the effect if lemongrass is removed from the, and so on and so forth. Na? What will be the effect if we use olive oil instead of sunflower or whatever? The point is, a hungry man cannot tolerate recipes. He needs a finished product, something to gobble in, because he's hungry. That means a hungry man is not at all tuned in for theories. In that sense, Parikshit Maharaj Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj is not at all tuned in for theories. He's about to die. The clock is ticking. Is it not? Therefore, what he needs is the most practical. So, mental concoctions can create havoc. Like this, some devotees had mental concoctions. They used to think, okay, Prabhupada has not given us enough. Because Prabhupada was preaching to some rowdy candidates here and there in the Western world. He had not given us enough. So maybe we have to go to Vrindavan in Radha Kund, maybe in the depths of Radha Kund somewhere, and some Babaji somewhere, in some Kandara there, and there we will get the highest, the lofty, the esoteric, the whatever. Oh, this is very dangerous. This is very dangerous. Srila Prabhupada so clearly explains. Prabhupada had said we don't need anything beyond Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita to go back to Godhead. We don't need anything beyond these three books to go back to Godhead. So, what are people assuming and aspiring for? There are others, they say that no, no, actually, the Bhagavatam and all is there, but that is pure love of Godhead and all that, but that is very lofty. Okay, if that is lofty, what is practical? They say, no, what is practical is Manu Samhita. Manu Samhita. Manu Samhita. Manu Samhita is having some moral codes of dealings and all that. So Prabhupada sometimes refers to some few verses in that. So now uh, now where from this idea has come? नित्य सिद्ध कृष्ण प्रेम साध्य कबु नया श्रवण आदि शुद्ध चित्त करिय उदया. The entire process from the beginning to end is about development of love of Godhead. Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Koriya Uday. Simply by hearing and chanting in the association of devotees, this love of Godhead becomes awakened. And the germ or the seed or the virus of the love of Godhead is present in everyone. So therefore, the point which comes is that therefore that okay, from where this ideology has come, that let's try to have more understanding of how to deal in family relationships, how to deal in this, and how to deal in that. And like say for example, now we in our training also, like in the end of the first year, we are giving the Vaishnav training workshop. We are also giving the software training workshop. What does it mean? Now somebody says no, software training workshop is the main thing. You know, one has to know AI. And without AI also one can become a pure devotee and go back to God. So that is supportive. That okay, along with practicing spirituality, we can learn something which can help us probably in our career. But that is not the be all and end all of all our, if we say the entire crux of our teachings is the software training workshop. No, that is a very foolish conclusion, is it not? That is just a support thing which we have given, is it not? That okay, rather than no fluff, no running here and there and trying to learn the good things, we can learn in the association of devotees, or we can get some help. But that's not the main thing. Similarly, there are secondary scriptures in the entirety of the Vedas. These scriptures give some support systems, but that support systems cannot be considered as the be all and end all. So, therefore, we see that these are all examples of various kinds of mental concoctions which can prevail. And mental concoctions can create havoc in our spiritual life. So, therefore, uh, a sadhaka has to be very, very humble. A sadhaka has to be very, very open minded. And one should inculcate a great degree of service attitude in trying to serve. And one should always pray that we can understand and align. One of perennial prayers which we can offer is, "Oh Krishna, let me please reveal and make me align to your mood and your desires, or the mood of the parampara, the spiritual master, rather than we concocting anything." Srila Prabhupada stressed on. You see, the point is that when the basics, we mess up with basics owing to mental concoctions, then we become very weak and susceptible and prone to be diseased and infected. That is the point. Like, say, for example, Srila Prabhupada, he stressed on Harinam Sankirtan, book distribution, which means it is an important priority. No, 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 no. So now there is no point in working out. Uh, there is no point in saying that okay, it's not practical. Let's try to do some other service and so on and so forth. Prabhupada stressed on something. Those are the basic. Those can give us strength. So therefore, we need to understand that let me not put in the mental concoctions. Sometimes some devotees, what they do is they want to do something, but if they say that I want to do something, then it looks a little cheap. It doesn't look like devotee types. So what they do is that they go here and there, and every senior devotee they will ask this question: that what should be done? Can this be done? Is this all right? And if you ask 10 people, at least one such devotee may say yes, and they may say, "Oh, this Maharaj has given me instruction to do this." So it's very bad. You know? So this is very bad. So generally, when we want to do something, we should ask those devout seniors who know us. Those seniors who don't know us, they will give us a very generic answer. And if we are proposing something which is seemingly not looking like very grossly breaking of regulative principles. I mean, if you are going to ask a question to a senior devotee, can I do thievery, looting, killing, and all that? Obviously, that answer yes will never come. But in general, so somebody may just say yes, and then they say, okay, this Maharaj gave me personal instruction, that Maharaj gave me personal instruction. This is called as superimposing ourselves on what this is similar to what the Goranagris are doing. They're superimposing their own mood on. We really don't understand. So basically, if you see that now the example of Goranagri is Srila Prabhupada is quoting. But what is the point in simulating a gopi bhav? What is the point in simulating the Gopi Bhav? First of all, what is Prema Bhav? That also we don't understand. What is the Prema Bhav in the heart of a devotee like Prahlad Maharaj? That also we don't understand. What to say of Bhav in the heart of a Gopi? So these kind of deviations can go very, very nasty and very gross also. Why? Because our mind is exploded and filled up with lust, and then one tries to assume and simulate these kind of gopi bhav and all that. One may be simply doing meditation on some sexual fantasies in the name of spirituality. That's all. Because where do we understand what is gopi bhav? To understand the rasa, first one has to establish, just like a building, a 20-40 storied building stands on a foundation. The piling foundation. The piling foundation is the Shanta Rasa and Dasya Rasa. First one has to get clearance on those grounds.
Foundation can never
And
be
Shanta Rasa means hearing and chanting. Shanta Rasa means hearing and chanting. When one's mind is just absorbed in glories of the Lord, so much so that it becomes an impenetrable shield that no other nasty thought can penetrate in, like a bulletproof jacket. So one's remembrance of Krishna is so acute and intense that nothing can penetrate him. That is Shantaras. How many of us are qualified on the grounds of Shantaras also? And then the next is Dasya Rasa. After that, some intimacy and other things will come. So the Madhurya Rasa is built upon Shanta and Dasya, the acme of Shanta and Dasya, the foundation of Shanta and Dasya. Therefore, these mental concoctions are not going to work out. We need to hear from devotees and we need to follow that. We need to follow. That is why we see Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is personally coming and demonstrating what kind of devotional service to perform. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go every day for Jagannath Darshan. Like that, we should go every day for morning program. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would serve the devotees so heartily. Like that, we should have attitude for Vaishnava Seva. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is such a fervor for preaching. Like that, we should have fervor for preaching. So, apani Acharya Prabhu sabai ke shikhai. Let's stop here for today. Hare Krishna. Granthra. Hari Prabhu. ग्रंथराज श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। हरि बोल।